Goody goody everyone, this is Dayhawk bringing to you episode 16 of Shaman King 2021. So the last time we saw our heroes, um, Ren, Ryu, and Yo were already into town, and Horo had business got hurt and had to deal with bear problems, which ultimately went south. But now, in this episode, he made it to town. Uh, he caught up with the rest of the gang, and he said that he's gonna make up for the fact that I had business to take care of. But don't worry, I'll make it up to you soon. And everybody except for Lyserk was giving this weird face like, what does he mean by that? That weird eerie feeling. And in the next scene you get to see Ryu driving the van, so kind of sucks now because he will not rely on Billy anymore, which sucks unless a villain or the van itself gets broken down, then he has to summon Billy, but not this time. No Billy today. And so while he was driving, Ren was beating up Horo up. For what reason? I don't know. He said that he has a smug look on his face, so it pisses him off, so he ends up beating him up. And while they're beating each other up, they made it to the old Patch Village, which is called Mesa Grande. But it was discovered that it's nothing more than a tourist attraction. So they were wandering around the town until they reached a keep out sign, and Ren was like, okay, let's go through it and see if there's any clues. But before they got through that path, they encountered some of Howe's followers, and one of them mentioned the striking resemblance of Howe and Yo. But of course, Yo already knew about that, and everybody was like, "Huh? What's going on? Did you like how and Yo have a strong resemblance to each other? Descended? What's going on?" And it's strange because I'm like, you didn't pick that up when you guys first met How? Like, they look like twins, which they are twins in a way. So I'm surprised no one brought it up except that one time with Lizer picked it up when he was like, Yo and How somehow, someway look exactly alike. Is there some kind of mystery, or is he involved with Hal somehow? So yeah, that was picked up. And so apparently by the order of Hal, he's going to experience a severe trial, meaning he's gonna kill 4 of his friends. And Boris, the vampire, ends up biting Lyserk and cuts Ryu's hair, and he's down for the count. Again, if you haven't picked it up, I've noticed every single time, almost every villain, and also Horo that one time when they were falling off from the plane, ends up cutting a piece of Ryu's hair. There's no end to it. Let's be honest, there's no end to the haircutting. Uh, and so the vampire introduces himself as Boris Tepes Dracula or Dracula. Um, and Horo, and I think Ryu was mentioning like, well, your companion over here looks more demon, like a devil, than you are Dracula with the mustache and the pointy hair and the typical classic black and white villain with the evil mustache and all that. And Boris gets all super crazy and ends up stabbing him in the back, literally. Then after that, he ends up taking his soul and his energy based on what he said, and he gets sucked up, and that's it. And mind you, the other followers of Howe did not do anything. They just stood there and watched. Um, and so Boris attempts to attack Horo, but Ryo comes to and ends up punching him in the face, and he takes off his white coat and comes out with all purple with his hair all normal, and Ryu the wooden swordsman has appeared. And things are getting serious now with him, just with his hair all with the Elvis hairstyle and him dressed all in purple. Yeah, and Horo and Ram was like, who is this? Like, who is this exactly? And you could see the faces. I'm like, what the hell? And meanwhile, there's a scene where Manta and Anna are flying on a helicopter, and looks like they're going to Patch Village to give Yo the book, the Tome of Howe, which I don't have the name of it. I have it in my notes, but I don't know where I put it, but it's somewhere. But it's a long name, so why should I why should I do that? So Boris gets super crazy, and then Ryu punches him in the face again. And we all thought that Ryu has the upper hand because you get to see him throw massive shots at Boris. But then he ends up turning the tide by summoning bats and biting him, sucking on his blood. And then Yo tries to help him, but he gets stopped by Lyserk, and he gets possessed because of the bite. Because due to Boris's bite, he's a vampire apparently, which later on it turns out to be not the case. And then seeing Lyserk possessed and Ryu getting eaten by mad-eating bats, Tokugaru runs away. And so while they were fighting, the three members of Howe's group decided to, you know what, let's just get out of here. We don't need to be involved in this any longer. So they went on ahead through the Forbidden Pass, but not before mentioning that the path that they're taking leads to Patch Village, and that if somehow, some way, they end up defeating Boris, they will have to go through them as well. So I think in the next episode, once they defeat Boris and going through the path, they'll eventually have to deal with those three. Maybe, but who knows? Um, and then Ryu discovered the secret that Boris is not really a vampire. And the secret is that his cape is made out of blood, and it integrates his ghost with blood to form an oversoul cape. And um so that's the secret. He's not really a vampire at all. Um and then Boris tells the story of his ancestor Vlad Tepes Dracula, who was a hero. He was a hero amongst their people. And this story reminds me a whole lot of the Tao family. If you could remember back then, Tao En was telling the story that the Tao clan used to be one of the most powerful and the most powerful shamans in all of China. They help people, they guide people, and doing all those positive things for their people until fear came into play, and they end up getting banished to the far ends of China just because they feared them. They feared that the people will get enslaved by them and that sort of thing. The Boris story, when he was telling them about their ancestors, it's pretty much the same thing, except Tao En didn't meet with Howe. He didn't meet with Howe, unlike Boris and his ancestors did. That's the little thing to know. So and so Vlad became a hero. He stopped enemy forces from invading and conquering their homeland until his people turned on him out of fear. His family was banished. Not necessarily banished, but they had no choice but to run away from their home because the people might find them and kill them. And along the way, they met Howe, or in this form, Patch Howe, and he offered, he offered a way to get his revenge on the people who betrayed him. You hate humans, come and join me, I can help you do that. So now you know the story and the reason why Boris hates humans and the reason why he will help Howe to achieve his dream. And so at the very end of the episode, they end up distracting him while Amidamaru was talking to Boris's guardian ghost to rekindle his consciousness, because during the whole talking about his backstory, he mentions about his guardian ghost who used to be a vampire hunter, and I'm not sure during that time he was alive or dead, but either way they end up torturing him to the point where he lost the sense of what is right and what is wrong. So he ended up enslaving him, and but thanks to Amidamaru, he ended up bringing him back and releasing Lyserg from his control. Because mind you, they were about to get killed by Boris by impaling Ryu, Horo, and Ren while Yo was being detained, and possessed Lyserg had Yo's katana and was ready to kill himself. And as we all thought that, I don't think they're gonna get out of this alive, but they end up having this secret plan, and it worked. They end up destroying the pillars. The guardian ghost is freed from Boris's control, which Lyserg is freed, and you get to see in the final scene Ryu on top of Bison and getting ready to have this last round between him and Boris. And that's the end of that episode. I'm really surprised that they unleashed Boris so soon, because in the 01 version, which I'm watching right now, they're not even close to encountering him just yet. And because of Boris's actions, it led Lyserg to join the X-Laws, amongst other reasons. So as far as the original goes, Boris has not made an appearance, neither did Lily Lala, so it's gonna be a while, which, by the way, I will do the next video on 01 pretty soon. I like this episode. It tells a really good story. You kind of feel bad for Boris in in a way, but he's crazy. Like, him being compared to his comrade, from being too scary to getting punched in the face and getting all crazy. Yeah, he needs help. Especially while he thinks that he's a vampire, which, mind you, during the whole backstory as well, due to Vlad doing the infamous impaling of his enemies, he mentions how humans are making these atrocious stories about his ancestor, and it's so wrong. And yeah, he hates that. Other than that, I think that's it. In case I missed anything, please feel free to put it in the comments below, and please give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe, or if you don't like this video, you could always put a thumbs down. I don't really care. I'm just doing this for the heck of it. But there's always room to improve. I want to make this work. In any case, thank you for reaching to the end of this video, and I will see you on the other side. Johnny!